What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. My name is Raj. In this video, we are looking at the quarterbacks for week one, top quarterbacks that I like. I promised you guys a lot of football content for this year, and I'm not going to disappoint. Have a video out for quarterbacks, probably a video out for running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, maybe even defense. Have a Thursday night football video out, and then probably even a values and maybe even a stacking video out. So subscribe if you enjoy the content. Hit the like button. It helps this video reach more people. Leave a comment if you wish. Check out the website if you want to join us. DFSprocess.net have weekly passes available, even have season passes still, which comes with Discord, and they're super affordable. So if you want to join us, spend the season with us, you can check that out. But this video, we're looking at the quarterbacks. We're going to look at the top quarterback plays that I like of the week. Look at probably narrow it down to 5 options that I really like. But we'll kind of spend down and scroll through each option. Not talk about each quarterback, but just scroll through each range and see which ones are in a decent spot to produce. So the cheapest quarterback this week, it has to be that is at least viable, is going to be Mac Jones. He's $4,400. He gets a date with Miami in his debut. Now, the reason he's so cheap is nobody expected the Patriots to open the season with him. Maybe they thought later, if Cam Newton struggled early on, he'd come up and maybe be brought in midway point in the season if things didn't go well. But Newton struggled mightily in the preseason. There were some off-the-field issues with Cam Newton and maybe Bill Belichick. Led to his release, so Mac Jones is thrust into his starting gig in week one against Miami, which was very porous in terms of the passing attack last year. Overall, they were a solid defense, limiting teams to just 21 points on the year. But Mac Jones, $4,400 against Miami at home. Just in terms of a cheap cash quarterback, he did look very good in preseason. Normally, Alabama quarterbacks might not have a lot of success, a la like A.J. McCarron, because in college they're throwing to guys wide open. They have the best wide receivers. They're going up against teams that just have no shot at stopping them. So they have guys 10 yards open all the time. But Mac Jones looked different in the preseason. He was throwing to guys that were in tight coverage. So I have some confidence that he's going to produce pretty well this year. But he's not really on my radar because I think he's going to be somewhat popular. I'm looking to some contrarian plays here, a little bit different. One contrarian play that's not in my top 5 quarterbacks, obviously, but I think he makes some sense is like Zach Wilson against Carolina. Nobody's on him. Nobody's also on another guy that we'll talk about, but he's going up against Carolina, which was solid last year in terms of somewhat of a good defense. They should be similar this year. Nothing changed mightily for them. But for Zach Wilson, he's $5,000. The reason I think he is somewhat viable in tournaments, at least, is because he does have a stacking option. You pair Zach Wilson with Corey Davis, who looked very good in preseason. Those two had some great connections. Zach Wilson also gives you some mobility with his leg. He's not going to take off and run like Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, but he can escape the pocket, maybe get you like 20, 30, maybe even like 40 rushing yards if in terms of an outlier game. And I still expect the Jets offense to be pretty competent this year. They have Corey Davis. Hopefully Crowder plays. Maybe if Crowder doesn't play, that makes that stack a little bit better. It makes Davis a little bit better of an option. More targets for him. But I just had to mention him because he's 5,000. I haven't seen him talked about by anybody. And I think with everybody that's going cheap, looking to Mac Jones, I mean, you could pay $600 more to get probably a more talented quarterback in a little bit of a tougher spot, but still not that much different, and can produce at a much better clip. You have Jameis Winston, just in terms of stacking him with Callaway, it's very easy to do that. The Packers have a good defense, so I'm not looking at Winston too much in terms of a DFS play. One guy that I do like in terms of DFS, but that's for tournaments, is Fitzpatrick. He's not in my top 5 quarterbacks, but I just wanted to mention him because we all know the upside Fitzpatrick brings. He had a couple of starts last year. Even a couple years ago, I believe he was in the $1 million winning lineup in week 1, or at least at the top of the list. He just gives you a lot of upside. They throw the ball. I mean, they'll probably try to run it a little bit more this year with Gibson, but he does have some good pass catchers with McLaurin, has Logan Thomas, has a good pass-catching running back duo. Gibson can catch passes a bit, and then still has, I believe was it Jerick McKinnon, who caught a million passes for Washington last year. Just want to check my names. Jerick McKinnon, he's still there, $5,100. Just maybe he's not going to get a ton of work. He got some work late in this year last year, but he will get third down work and passing down work. Maybe if they get down early, they'll have to throw more with him. But we're getting to the first guy that I like in terms of my top 5, and that's Joe Burrow. He's 57. He's affordable. I think he's going to bounce back and have a very good season. He's not getting a ton of hype in preseason because he struggled a little bit, and then some of his receivers dropped passes for him. But preseason doesn't matter too much for me. I think Burrow is going to be ready to go. He looked great last year before that unfortunate injury. Like, he was on pace to win the Rookie of the Year. Looking at his starts, like, started off the season, first game struggled a bit, but then he threw 3 touchdowns against Cleveland, 2 more against Philly. Didn't throw another interception until week 4 after his early interception. It does give you a little bit of rushing upside, not going to run a ton. But the reason Burrow makes a lot of sense this week is that he's just such an easy person to stack his opponents with, or stack his teammates with. You get Joe Burrow, you throw in Joe Mixon, who's only $6,200. He also missed time last year. He should be healthy. You have T. Higgins, 47, and then you also have Jamar Chase, who played with Joe Burrow in college. Those two have chemistry, and preseason, a bad preseason was not going to change that. So that's the reason why Joe Burrow is going to be on my top 5 quarterbacks for this week. Another guy that I like is going to be Matt Ryan, just because the Eagles defense, they got some upgrades at cornerback, but I still think that they're very young. Besides, like, Darius Slay, their safeties are a little bit inexperienced. And Matt Ryan at home has just been a bit of a different animal. Last year, he was similar, but years past, he's been different in dome situations. And he just has a very good team to stack with, at least for week 1 with the pricing, how it's worked out. Ryan and Ridley is going to be a pretty popular stack. And then you could even throw in their tight end, Kyle Pitts, who's going to probably set some records, hopefully, for rookie tight ends. He's only $4,400. That is such an easy stack. You can throw in Mike Davis as your 4th option in terms of that stack. But so far, we got Joe Burrow, we got Matt Ryan, we have Jalen Hurts as my 3rd option. He's my favorite quarterback of the week because, unlike Matt Ryan, he's going to give you that rushing upside. And he did win me a ton of money against Arizona last year, so I'm still a little slightly biased. But I love what I see out of Jalen Hurts last year. He was just put into a bad situation. Like, didn't get much practice time. He wasn't working with the starters. Just got thrown into the fire late in the season when the Eagles didn't have much to play for. And Hurts produced, even though he lost some games, threw some interceptions. But, I mean, he broke 100 yards once against the Saints. He got north of 60 2 other times. He threw the football a ton. Wasn't super accurate, but had a 342 passing game, 338, had some comebacks late. So I like what I see out of Jalen Hurts. Also, very easy to stack him with Devontae Smith, who's $4,500. I expect big things out of Smith this year, no matter what some critics might say. I think Hurts and Smith are going to be, well, at least Smith is going to have a huge season. Just looking at the Eagles' wide receivers, you have Devontae Smith, and then you have Jalen Reagor as your 2nd, Greg Ward as your 3rd. That's basically it. Those are your top 3 receivers. So Smith is looking at a bunch of targets, and then you have Dallas Goedert. Wanted to stack those 2, throw in Sanders. This first game is screaming to me to stack it up. I love both sides. They're very underpriced. Both teams are. The 4th quarterback I wanted to mention is going to be Aaron Rodgers, just because he's only $6,800. He's on the road, but I just like what I see out of Rodgers. There was concern that he's going to be traded. He wasn't happy. Still not happy, but he became a professional. He showed up. And I expect him to show out. Like, it's nothing different from Aaron Rodgers. You know what you're getting. You're getting a top quarterback, a super reliable quarterback, consistent quarterback, has the best wide receiver in football, Devontae Adams, has a solid tight end in Robert Tonyan. Not a best matchup against New Orleans, but hey, doesn't matter. If it turns into a shootout, good news for Rodgers. He's going to throw a ton. And one of the best quarterbacks in football when he's healthy. Nothing too much to say. And he's only $6,800. You save $1,300 from Patrick Mahomes, and both produce within less than a point difference between the two in terms of average fantasy points. And then another quarterback at the top end, I like Kyler Murray just because he gets a date against Tennessee. I think it's going to be a bit more of a shootout with Tennessee's offense being super high flying and explosive this year now that they brought in Julio Jones. Tennessee defense, we know that is their weak point. So I expect Kyler Murray to be able to produce against them. And if this game does turn into a shootout, Murray has great weapons still with DeAndre Hopkins, has Chris Kirk, and then still has some solid running backs, although they don't have Kenyon Drake anymore, but he still has Chase Edmonds, who's probably going to explode if he's given some time. So that is about it for the video. If you wanted to see it on a little bit of a clean screen, this is the top 5 quarterbacks for me. I mentioned some other some other guys for tournaments, but Murray, Rodgers, Hurts, Ryan, Burrow. I love the price tags, love the matchups for all of these guys. Minus, like, Rodgers has a tough matchup, but he's matchup proof at this point of his career. So that's it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Best of luck, and I'll see you all in the next video.